Welcome back, Life Sciences. Did you really enjoy the practical? I really did. It was really awesome to be able to show you that and to realize the size of our heart compared to the size of the ox heart. It was really difficult to work with. So now we've looked at the structure of the heart. But how does it beat? How does it work? How does the heart, contract in a rhythm? Now, when you looked at the mammalian tissues, when you looked at cardiac tissue, I hope you realized that the tissue had bridges. And as I said to my classes, those bridges mean the cells were in contact with each other. And when a cell's in contact with each other, it can keep rhythm with one another. And that's exactly what we want the heart to do. It's all about keeping a rhythm. And that is why we're going to refer to it as the cardiac cycle. A cycle is a pattern that's constant and that always is the same. And if it isn't the same, that could mean that there is a slight problem. Okay, so let's have a look what we mean by cardiac, the cardiac cycle. Here there's quite a few words that you really need to know. And the one is asystole, which means contraction, and another is diastole, which means to relax. So generally when we talk about the heart contracting and relaxing, we actually give it a term. Systole, to contract, diastole, such a diastole day, I'm relaxed. That's the kind of concept that we're going to look at. So guys, as I said to you, we're going to look at this concept, of a sequence. Now, a sequence means a pattern. And the heart is a muscle, and a muscle can only do one of two things. It can contract, and it can relax. Muscles are very simple. That's all they're going to do. They're going to bring about movement. Now, obviously, this movement is really important, but what it does is it's a pump. What does a pump mean? A pump is a driving force behind something to get something around the body. And what we're going to do is we're going to have blood. This heart is going to take our transport. The way we transport things is in this tissue that we call blood. And the heart is going to be the pump behind it. So pumping, squeezing. And when I squeeze, something's going to happen. I'm going to move things along. Now, as I said to you, it's very important that you understand that there's the cycle. Now, when we talk about the cycle, I need you to understand another thing, that the right-hand side and the left-hand side, this is going to be the left, that is going to be, the right-hand side. Let me go this way. Sorry, I need to be a mirror. There we go. Right, left. It's a mirror image of each other. So when I talk about the heart, you need to understand that the right-hand side and the left-hand side are going to work together, even though they might carry different kinds of blood. Now, I want you to imagine the first thing is the heart relaxing. Just relaxes. And when it relaxes, I'm going to write this. Blood must come in. It must go to the top, go to the bottom, and it must go out. Always remember those three. In, top, bottom, out. And when my heart relaxes, the blood flows into the top chambers, into the atria. It's relaxed, and it can just flow in. Then what happens is I need to get it from the top to the bottom. So how do I do that? I've got a muscle. So how does a muscle work? A muscle squeezes. And what's a word for squeezing? Have a look here. Squeezing is systole. So now have a look. So if I take the atria and I squeeze it, so imagine I take the top part and it's like a balloon and I squeeze it, or your toothpaste, in the morning. So I squeeze it. Where is the blood going to go down? From the top to the bottom. Now you guys saw those awesome cords, those tendinous cords with their valves. So what happens is when the atria squeezes open, the blood rushes into the ventricles. And what happens is these valves, my tricuspid and my bicuspid valves, they must open. Because what does the blood do? It rushes into the ventricles. Now, as it finishes rushing, what happens? Those valves must close. And we're going to see just now, we can actually hear them. So now guys, now let's have a look at this one. So now I've got everything. Let's go back here. Remember what we're following. Let's go back. In, top, bottom, out. So this is in. Let's go over here. This is top. And where's it taking it to? The bottom. So our next slide is going to be, where is it? It's in the bottom. So where's our next thing after that? It must go out. So how do I get it out? It's in the bottom chambers, the ventricles. So what do I squeeze? I squeeze the ventricles. And when I squeeze the ventricles, the blood goes out of the heart. On the left-hand side, it's going to go to the aorta, all the way around the body. And on the right-hand side, it's going to go to the lungs, right, via the pulmonary artery. And what happens again? There are valves over here that will open. When the blood is finished, they're going to close. And when it closes, it again makes a sound. Now guys, when we're talking about all of this, I want you to have a look. Most of these things, 0.8 seconds. 0.8 seconds. That's how quick each time it's going, right? That is really, really quick. Try and time it. I remember when we were younger, we used to have a stopwatch. We used to see how fast we could go and the lowest that we could do it. 0.8 seconds is really, really fast. And your heart is doing that all of the time, all right? Constantly all of the time. So that is called the cardiac cycle. It happens all the time. In, top, bottom, out. In, top, bottom, out. There's that pattern, that cycle that goes. And when each time that I have to get it somewhere, my heart must contract. Systole, relax, diastole. Systole, diastole. The cardiac cycle. Now, as I've said to you very often, I'm sure you've all seen all of these things on the TV. And basically, what it means is when your heart contracts and when you relax. So the atria, when they contract, a little bit of a pressure. But did you remember when you saw the dissection, how big and thick, right, the ventricles are? Huge, big, thick, and that causes this huge, big pressure that we see. And that's why the doctors, right, take your heartbeat because it needs to be in a rhythm. So what happens if it's not in a rhythm? That could tell me something about the heart. Now, guys, as I say to you, the heart, if you put a stethoscope here and you hear a sound, lub-dub, lub-dub. Those are the valves closing. So each time the valve closes, lub-dub, lub-dub. Right? So those semilunar valves and those valves that we saw in our dissection, they open, close, make a sound. And that gives us our heartbeat, the heart sound. And that's how we can hear the sounds. And again, the sounds, what do you think the doctor listens to? He's looking for a rhythm. He wants to see this constant rhythm. Now, the last thing we need to look at is the heart pumps. Muscle can't just pump, right? Can't just do work. Muscle needs to have a messenger. Now, if we have a look at the heart, and we couldn't really see it in the dissection, if we have a look at the heart, right, any kind of muscle needs to be stimulated by a nerve. So guys, the heart is electrical because what are nerves? Electrical. So when my heart stops beating, do you see sometimes they put those paddles on? What are they putting through? Electricity. And that electricity gets the heart going. So basically what happens is the following. At the top of the heart, you've got a little bundle of nerves called the SA node. Another word for it is pacemaker. So imagine some of yours, if it doesn't work, they put a little pacemaker in your heart, which is a little battery thing that fires, right, and gets the heart going. So when this nerve works, it says, contract. Can you see that? It sends a message, and what contracts? The atria contract. And that's the first thing that happens. And then the next message, it goes to the next bundle over here called your atrioventricular node, between the atrium and the ventricles. And it says to them, okay, guys, it's like a domino thing. One touches and the whole thing goes. The ventricles must now contract. So the nerves go all the way around the ventricles. And what does a nerve cell do? It tells the muscle what to do. And the ventricles contract. Do you see that? And then it goes back and it tells the atria to contract. And the atria tells the ventricles to contract. So what happens is the heart is what we call autonomic. The heart tells itself what to do. The brain actually doesn't tell the heart to beat. The brain actually only tells the heart how fast must I beat. And that's very often when you see somebody they say is brain dead. Their brain is not working, but their heart is still working. Okay, and as I said there, that's where we're going to have a look at it right here in our medulla oblongata. Right over there in our medulla oblongata, right in our brainstem. That's going to say to us, listen here, all right, you need to beat faster or you need to beat slower. It's like after I've run and I need to get all the oxygen around, it's going to tell my heart what to do. Okay, guys, I hope you really enjoyed the dissection today. I really enjoyed it. That's all we're going to do for today. I don't think you'll be able to get the picture of the heart out of your mind, but I'm glad you have this lovely visual. Until next time, cheerio, bye.